Hey, what's up guys and welcome back. First of all, if you would like to support me and the channel, my PayPal will be in the description, so thank you very much. I did change the name guys, but it's the same series. So here is part 2 of What If Naruto was the last surviving Shinobi guys. Remember to get this one too, 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, yes, I indeed have 3 channels which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. I'll be leaving all of the links down in the description for you guys to go ahead and check out Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Symbol guys and become a part of the Anime King family. So without further ado or wasting more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode. Begin the intro guys. So the last part we left off, we started with a teenager Naruto Uzumaki. Everything was hell, literally. You see, a couple of years back, an event took place that triggered a mass global affair that turned the world into something that truly cannot be fixed, not in the slightest. As for Naruto Uzumaki, he left the village when he was much younger. He couldn't take it anymore, the stigma, the hate, the anger, he couldn't take it. So he decided to run away from the village. Naruto trained and pushed himself. He had help along the way, but he became one of the most infamous shinobi, going by the name Hollow or the Ghost, due to his rather uncaring ability to slaughter his opponents without hesitation. The years on the road had teach him that holding back would only lead to the death of his client or himself, so he stopped holding back. He stopped pulling his punches, and the moment he stopped doing that, well, everything changed. Naruto was 15 years old when it happened, and it was over 3 years ago. As an event, something fell from the sky, landing within the land of snow. As it was nearby the land of iron, many people started to fall sick. Unfortunately though, they died. But when they died, they did not stay dead. They got back up and started to bite others. The country started to be overrun because ninjas lost their chakra. The moment that object struck the earth, everyone found it. They couldn't use their power anymore. Everyone was drastically reduced. And when the zombies rose, they tried to fight, they tried to attack, but they found themselves outmanned, outgunned. They were being put down, they were being killed. Little by little, the elemental nation was overrun. Shinobis fell, nations fell. Whole civilizations were completely destroyed. Naruto tried his best to survive the world, but he got bit, trying to save someone. His intention was clear, to end himself before he could transform. Unfortunately though, something phenomenal took place. As Naruto dived off the cliff, his eyes opened, but he was still in control. From that day on, Naruto became something else, something beyond human. Many people believe that there was just 3 tiers of the zombies. There were the mindless walkers. There were the ones that were more intelligent, either strength, or the ones that could crawl on walls. And then you had the leaders. The leaders were in control of the others, commanding large groups. Their purpose seemed to be just worldwide destruction, the complete eradication of the others. However, Naruto was one of the small, maybe out of 5 handful that knew about the final kin. Three of them. They were known as the final kin. Naruto tried to fight it even with his new found strength. He was absolutely nothing. He was tossed aside like he was a vermin, like he was garbage. The final kin were some different kind of monsters. They were monsters that the others were afraid of. Naruto kept on pushing himself, learning about himself, learning about his strange abilities. Until this day, Sakura Haruno Kiba Inuzaka, and there was also Hinata Yamato and a man known as Renji. All of them, they were moving towards a rather protective area of Konoha that was always overrun. But due to recent shifts, you could see that majority of the walkers started to move away. Unfortunately though, they had to draw the attention of one of them. It was a screecher. With a simple scream it could call armies. Sakura was the one that took it, but, well, others were there, forcing the team to make their move, leaving Sakura behind. Kiba was pissed off, as there seemed to be a close relationship between the two. Shocking though, as they came back out they were surrounded, but Sakura was alive. She was saved. It was Naruto. Naruto went down and took on the army. Unfortunately, due to a mishap, explosions rained, but Naruto was actually counting on it, as he was sure that he would be okay. His body was blown apart, but they were shocked to see that his body was pulling back together, as he successfully eliminated the others. Unfortunately though, he was unconscious. However, they heard rumors, they heard whispers. They decided that they would bring him back, thus they did. The leader of this little post, the leader of this regime here, was none other than Tsunade Senju. When Naruto first opened his eyes though, a memory flashed through his mind. He remembered meeting the other kin, the other final kin. This one had a more feminine feature about her, but you see, all of them possess only one attribute for the human face: the eyes, the nose, the mouth. All of them possess only one attribute. It was something special about each and every one of them. When Naruto opened his eyes, he believed the thing in front of him was that, but it was actually the leader of the regime, Tsunade Senju. Unfortunately, though Naruto plan didn't go as he thought, they shouldn't have bring him back. Him being blown up was on purpose, as it was the only way to take down that horde so they would not die. Unfortunately though, Naruto started to lose it, as we see Naruto losing control. They tried to stop him, but Naruto broke the wall like it was nothing, tearing through steel as he finally found it. They had one of the screechers. They had it captured, experimenting on it, trying to find some kind of cure, as Naruto ripped into it with his teeth, tearing it apart. He did not eat humans, he eat zombies. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So to begin this new episode, we begin this series a few minutes before Naruto broke free. Sakura Haruno was racking her brain, struggling with a concept to remember, struggling to try to recall where she seen his face before. Movements beside her caught her attention. You're still up. Beside her was none other than Kiba Inuzaka, as the both of them were in bed together. There was a reason why Kiba was so angry. There was a reason why he was so mad when she questioned about sacrificing herself. A reason why he almost lost it when he heard the explosions after she made her way off. There was something between them, something mutual. Over the months, this mutual event has developed in many different ways for the both of them. This was recent. These both people were completely different people in the past. Kiba used to be a rather arrogant jerk, and she always saw him as that. And Sakura used to be terrified of her own shadow, afraid of going on high-class missions. This was when she was a shinobi. She was weak, not strong enough. However, now, all Shinobis were gone. They all lost their chakra. Over the years, under the tutelage, under the guidance of many above her, she has risen to become an integral part of this organization that was fighting for humanity. At least this was still some normalcy. The both of them sharing a bed together. They weren't fully involved. Their relationship was still on the down low. After all, it was still very recent. But given what she's been through, she should be asleep. But no, she was up, racking her brain as she looked towards him. "I'm alright," she said, waving off his concerns. However, both of them were alerted by the loud sound. Immediately, they got dressed. They feared the worst as they ran down the hall. That sound only meant one thing. One of their prisoners got loose. Over the years, they've kidnapped and captured many of these zombified ninjas. Some of the most extraordinary ones. Many lives were lost. The only ones that they never truly were able to capture was the leaders. The strongest. All of these people in here believe. Racing through the hall, they arrive as they saw majority of their people, weapons ready. She also saw her master, Senju Tsunade, standing there. She quickly pushed through the crowd, Kiba following behind as they arrived. Gazing inside, she saw him. She saw his red eyes. However, perhaps it was the way he was standing, covered in blood. It triggered something, even though her past was not filled with so much blood. Flashback. A fist crashed into a young man's face, throwing him down. Sakura Haruno watched as the bully that was making fun of her forehead crashed down to the ground. You shouldn't go around making fun of someone. After all, you're not that good looking either. Naruto Uzumaki stood there as he turned towards Sakura, a smile on his face. "Watch out," she said, as he was hit in the nose, causing him to bleed. "You're gonna pay for that," the bully said, standing over him. However, Naruto jumped and tackled him, knocking him to the ground. That was the first day that she met him. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. He saved her. She saw him in the park most times, but no one was ever by his side. When she entered the academy though, he was gone. She never saw him again. She took him off her mind after everything. End of flashback, but now, the memory just resurfaced. After all these years, the memory just popped up in her mind. Weapons raised, as everyone was ready to attack. However, Tsunade Senju stepped forward, pulling something out of her coat. It was a handkerchief. She stepped, as the others were against it though, but she simply stepped forward and handed it to Naruto. He looked at her. In the darkness, his red, pulsating eyes watching her carefully. As he took it away from her, "You should be more afraid," he said. "Well, I'm not, because I saw what you did back there. The urge to kill me was strong, to devour me if I must say, but you fought it off and came here instead. Now it is quite understandable how you were able to survive an explosion of what they spoke about. Normally, this would be considered normal in terms of your strength of getting here. Even in the past, many possessed great regeneration, but nowadays, this is not normal in the slightest. So, tell me, what exactly are you?" she said, watching him very carefully. Time skip. Many was against this. They wanted him gone. He should leave. He shouldn't be here. Fighting for many years now. They were sick and tired of seeing their comrades die. And having one of those things here, it didn't matter what kind he was. He devoured that zombie though. It was complicated, but he should not be here. He was a part of them. Maybe this was a new species that they haven't seen before it act human. After all, they did see some acting rather human-like, but speaking like this and feeding on its own. There was only a handful that have seen a leader before. However, leaders had rather telling features. They did not look human. So what the hell was this thing? Meanwhile, in their interrogation room, Snede Senju sat in a chair, across from Naruto. You know, I had heard rumors. I heard about the man that could scale walls with a simple jump. Rather common in the past, but now, extraordinary. The man that could punch through solid concrete like it is nothing, bend steel, throw a zombie for miles away. Extraordinary strength, crushing bones like it's nothing, running at superhuman speed and jumping at superhuman speed. However, as most things, we take this with a grain of salt. A few years back, a man claimed to be the person that could cure all, only for people to come to him as he offered them safe haven, never to worry about ever being infected. But he turned around and did unspeakable things to them, him and his group. Luckily, he fell off the face of the earth. Jizo knew to suddenly speak. She blinked. There was only a small amount that knew that name. How do you know that name? She said. It was either he got close enough to know the one that did that atrocity those years ago, or he was there. Well, considering that I was the one that killed him, I did ask for his name, said Naruto, as he rested both his hands on the table. I guess you did all of us a favor then. You're rather polite and helpful as well, being rather common with the way I speak about my exploits. You're afraid, Naruto said, unsure what you're dealing with, unsure what and who I am. Well, there's nothing for you to fear from me. I'm not some new type of species. Maybe I am something different, but I'm not a monster that feeds on human flesh. As you can see, I have another way to ensure my hunger is met. But you can't keep me here, and you've seen that with your own eyes. I'm sure that you have other ways of restraining me, but I promise you, it is not going to work. How long? What? How long can you go without having to feed? She questioned. Naruto narrowed his gaze. I was the world's greatest medic before this. I still am, she said. Your symptoms are like an addict weaning himself off of a drug. However, the withdrawals hit you very, well, extreme, she said. So, how long? And why do you want to know that? Planning to keep me here for that time frame? Well, you might be able to break out of here. Or perhaps, we can't stop you, she said. I do have a lot of people, but we've lost enough already. And I especially don't want to lose any more because of someone that ate my people. You saved a lot of life by returning those people alive. After all, if it wasn't for you, a lot of my best would have been dead. So I'm simply asking, how long? 5 days. After that, things become fuzzy, said Naruto. And you can't control it. But you stopped yourself from biting me, she said. You were lucky. I try my best to keep it off until the time is right, because it does not matter. 5 days exactly I will feel it, even if I devour something 2 days before the time frame. It will still hit me in the day 5. So, it is always a bit of a risk. I have to be prepared, said Naruto. I say these things. You should be trying your best to get me out of here now. After all, I might not be like the others, but I'm still a monster. And you cannot trust monsters these days. Yes, you're right. We can't. But you are no monster. A monster would not do what you did. A monster would not sacrifice himself the way you did. Speaking of sacrifice, my team told me that you were blown to pieces and yet your body pulled itself back together. What kind of regenerative ability is that? She said with curiosity. You know, something about you seem rather familiar, said Naruto. Something about this woman. He knew her from back in the days. He knew her title, not personally. But there was something else about her that just seemed so familiar that he could not exactly put his finger on. I've been wondering the same thing the moment I laid eyes on you, she said to him. Those marks on your face seem so familiar to me. There was a knock at the door. She told him that she did not want to be interrupted, but the knock once again. Enter, she said. It was Sakura Haruno. Sakura, Tsunade said. I'm sorry for the interruption, she said, but I must ask, are you Naruto Uzumaki? She said, looking directly towards Naruto. Naruto looked at the girl. His face alone was enough to tell them that, well, she was right. As he was curious how this girl knew him, he's never seen her that here. Naruto's mind flashed back towards a memory in the past. However, he did not recall her name. I'm Sakura, she said. Sakura Haruno. I doubt that he will remember this, but many years ago within Konoha, I was around 4 or 5 years old. You saved me from bullies, Naruto said. He was talking about your forehead. I punched him. She nodded. So you are him. Tsunade blinked. Wait, you're that Naruto? She said, looking towards him. As Naruto looked at her. Do you know someone that goes by the name Jiraiya? First of all, you might not know me, but I was rather infamous in the past. For many different reasons, Naruto said. And yes, I know who you were. I don't know the kind of person you are right now, but you are Senju Tsunade. You were the world's greatest medic. One of the Sanins. And yes, I do know Jiraiya. He spoke about you, she said. I met him while he was searching for you. I now remember everything, she said. What he said about you. Who were your parents? I've been away from the village so long, I had no idea. To think, you are indeed that Naruto Uzumaki, son of Minato, Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Wait, you wouldn't know this. I do. I ran into Jiraiya, said Naruto. He knew where I was on more than one occasions. Let's just say that we came to an understanding. His resolve to bring me back to the village was never that truly concrete. We spoke, and I was able to change his mind, I presume. I was strong back then, but he was still stronger than me. So I know who my parents are, said Naruto. I presume that he spoke to you before. He met up with me. He had been hunting me for some while. I tried to lose him, but his spy network was vast. A very good man. A big pervert, but a good man. Yeah, you're right about that, she said with a chuckle. He was. I never heard back from him after the event. I presumed he died. He did, Tsunade said, as she looked up towards Naruto. So you are a part of this, in a way. I am a part of nothing, said Naruto. I left Konoha a long time ago. I was a Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. Sakura stood there shocked. They treated me like I was a bacteria, like I was the virus itself. So I left and made a name for myself. In the past, they called me the Ghost, the Hollow. Snare blink. That was you? No one ever knew the identity of that person. You became one of the most infamous bounty hunters. Yes, it was. But that doesn't matter anymore now, does it? Bounty hunting is not really a thing anymore. All that matters in these days is survival. Naruto said, looking at her. Were you not aware of our existence? Chakra said. I heard rumors and whispers. But why should I care, said Naruto. What do you mean? You have the strength and the power to turn the tides. You can do things that others can't ever do again. But you can. I don't know how, but you're special, she said. And there must be a reason for that. There's no reason, there's simply logic, said Naruto. And I'm not some knight in shining armor. So, forgive me if I'm not going to simply run to do whatever it takes for the survival of the human world. How can you say that? You're a human as well, are you not? Countless people have died, countless people have suffered. How can you sit here and say that when you have the ability to change it? She shouted towards him. You don't even know me. You expect me to care about anything here? Then why? Why did you save me, she said. Why did you risk your life? Why did you get blown to pieces to save my life and the others? You must still care. You are human, and you care about our survival. So don't sit there and act like you're above it. I don't know what your problem is, but your strength is needed. Everyone has to put aside their past grudges, their past actions. It is not us against Shinobis anymore. It is us against monsters that want to see our existence gone. So put aside whatever you're worrying about. We need your help, she said. Naruto looked at her for a long moment. A very, very long moment. What is it, she said. Nothing, he said, looking away. You just remind me of someone. You're loud, arrogant, cocky. Extremely loud as well, he said once again. She looked towards him with a sigh. Sorry, but you've seen the world. You've been out there. And the things you can do, it's short of a miracle that anyone can do them in this day and age. Development in every single area has stopped due to the overcrowded and overrun population that is out there. Every time we put them down, they seem to just come back in much larger numbers. We need some kind of advantage. And there must be a reason why I'm alive today, because I was willing to risk my life. I thought it was over for me, but you saved me, she said. And I pray that you lend us your help. You aid us to save us against this corruption and truly put a stop to it once and for all, she said. She excused herself after that, as the rest was up to him. Can they force him? Not really. She makes a good point, don't you say? Said Tsunade, as Naruto was looking at Tsunade odd. Yeah, I would say so. Good, she said. So that means we can count on your help. I didn't say that. Her making a good point does not mean that I'll throw myself into something that I don't want to be a part of. Besides, are you sure that it's a good idea to keep me around? I can feel your people outside. They're getting restless. You can sense their emotion. That is what she took from what Naruto said. It seems there is simply much more surprise to get out of you, Naruto Uzumaki, she said. Moments later. So you're just gonna give me free roam, allowing me to move around, do as I please? Naruto said, looking at her. What if this is just some trick, and I am one of those monsters? This would be really stupid of you, she said. Perhaps it is. But I just trust you, said Tsunade. Well, that's stupid, she said. You know, usually, I would have knocked you through that concrete wall, she said, with a smile on her face, making Naruto step back slightly. Oh, I'm not kidding, she said, seeing the look on his face. Although, I suppose people can change. She walked alongside him as they made their way. As they were making their way towards a different room, Naruto noticed several individuals. As they were looking at him, some of them sending him threatening gaze. Are they supposed to be intimidating? Said Naruto. Pretty much. Make a move against me, and you will die, she said. After arriving, she found Sakura. Sakura, why don't you show him around? Sakura did not mind as she walked alongside Naruto. You know, that leader of yours is pretty smart. She is, Sakura said. Well, for many different reasons. She still doesn't trust me, and she wants to see what I am capable of, said Naruto. I know this base is not your original. Far, far from it. I have to say, more humans survive than I thought. Because I know that this is just a tiny handful of what you have at your disposal. This place is simply used to gather the equipments that you took from the underground platform in Konoha. And that is the only reason why she's allowing me to move around. Even then though, I'll always be watched. Can you blame her? After everything we have been through, not to mention, we still do not know if there are different types of zombies out there. The bulkier ones possess strength. Those beady eyes ones, they're able to screech and call the weaker ones. You have the ones with the acid. You have the ones that can walk on wall, and those ones with a disgusting tongue. And then we have someone like you. Someone that can regenerate from having his head blown off. That is not exactly normal. So you'd understand why she is fearful. Keeping you at a distance. Making sure that if shit hit the fan, well, we can be prepared to take you down. As I said, she's smart. Can I ask you a question though? Were you here when she was brought here, or was she here before you were brought here? Oh, well, she was always a leader, she said. Some big tragedy took place in the past, and she was able to gather a few people, and a few became more and more and more. I was never with this group until a few years back when I was brought here. We have accomplished a lot over the past, saved and helped a lot of people, said Sakura, as her and Naruto walk alongside one another. Well, I guess, as surviving humans, that is all we can do, hoping to exterminate each and every one of these monsters one day. Naruto gazed upwards. You know, I know you want to ask it. Go ahead, he said. Fine. I am curious, everyone else would be. You ate that thing. First of all, that's beyond disgusting. Secondly, its DNA is inside of you. You should be turning. Third, why, she said. Well, I'm not sure that I'm completely human anymore, said Naruto. Sakura did not miss a step as she walked alongside him. Her eyes were focused. But I'm not one of those monsters. But I do have an infliction of their problem. I have to feed, said Naruto. However, I vowed to myself that I will never feed on humans. So there has to be something else. And trust me, I know that it's rather disgusting, but it's the only thing stopping me from, well, it stopped me from ripping your master apart. Naruto said, walking alongside her. So what now? Know that you heard what kind of monster I am. It's best if you let me get out of here and not put your people in danger. She looked towards him. There was a look on her face, a rather unreadable one. I had to watch my parents ripped apart in front of me. They saved me and they got ripped apart. I was being carried away by a ninja, clinging to a conscious state while they were torn apart right in front of my eyes. I've seen friends, loved ones, teared apart in front of me, screaming for help. I have suffered so much over the past couple of years. Sometimes I believe that this world is not even real, that we're in some kind of twisted universe where everything is just wrong. I've been trying my best to keep on going, but sometimes it becomes a hassle. On that day, I knew that I was going to die. The moment I saw that thing, knowing that others would survive, others would be fed, and I was okay with that. I found myself saying that I was tired, extremely tired. So I went along with it. But then, you saved me. And the moment you did, I felt this feeling of hope. The moment I looked at you, I felt this strange feeling that I truly can't understand. And you being connected to my past made that even more secured in my heart that you're going to be able to help us in a way that we've never truly been able to do before, Chakra said. And you're right. I still don't fully trust you, she said. It's been hard trusting people. However, trust can be earned, she said, looking at him very carefully. As Naruto paused, gazing behind him, they were trying their best to hide, but he knew they were there, ready to strike him down at a moment's notice. He gazed upwards as he saw the cameras as well. Seems like there was still some technologically advancements in this world after all. Well, you have nothing to fear from me. I will never try to harm you or your people. You have my word, he said. She smiled. The moment she did, she reminded him so much of. Naruto shook his head, ignoring that thought, as it was just going to drive him mad. Well then, the both of them were interrupted by alarms blazing. What's that? Said Naruto. Chakra immediately grew fearful. All the alarms meant something else, and this one meant intruders. Racing down the hall, Naruto following behind her. They arrived towards a rather large open area as Tsunade Senju rushed in as well. Behind her was reinforcements. However, there was only one individual that was standing there. It was a leader. It was a reason why the leader was so well known. His skin was pale, like extremely pale, like he hadn't seen sun for 1,000 years. Despite the fact that they could casually walk in the sun, it didn't affect any of their kind, so it was rather strange. Tsunade's eyes went wide as she stepped forward. The Butcher King. Those that were able to glimpse this thing and survive, rumors had spread. It walked with a cleaver, a massive cleaver. It was tall. It was around 6 foot. He lifted with such a ease. The Butcher King was a special kind of leader. You had more common leaders, but he was a bred amongst the rest. He was a monster that they never hoped to face in times like these. They weren't ready for something like this. He did not come with an army. He did not make a noise. He snuck in and then he started to kill. The Butcher King, his skin was pale. He only had one eye. But that eye was so large. It almost encompassed the entirety of his face. With a big grin that shows off rays of sharp teeth. He was wearing a cloak. He reached up and pulled it down, showing off his veiny face, his demonic looking claws. This zombified leader was known to be the original source of the infection. The tale was that they were the one that came from the thing that dropped from the sky to conquer the world. However, Only Naruto and a small handful knew that was false, because the leaders were not the true leaders after all. The Butcher King stepped forward. As he spoke, his tone was grutter, sounding like clay crushing against one another, but you could make out his words. You finally made a move. His words weren't that perfect, but you could hear him. After so long, I wonder which one of the companies will come for the equipments within your former home. You knew, said Snatty. Of course. I had to make it look believable. Slowly moving out my people to the west, making you believe that the area has changed in some way. You didn't take too long. And the moment you did, I had one of my people follow you, he said. That is when they looked up as they saw him. It was a wall crawler. It had one giant eye. No mouth, nothing else, just a giant eye. Watching them. It was there. It watched the team brought Naruto back. The Butcher King was waiting for this. He was smarter than the others. The leaders were all smart. Another settlement. This one is much larger than the others. He stepped forward. Do not fear, he said. All of you would be enlightened by me, becoming a part of us. You should be honored, grateful. There is no reason to fight. You're all already dead, he said to them. However, mankind was stubborn. The man in front of him lashed out with his sword. However, the Butcher King grabbed it and simply snapped it, showing strength that was so extra. He was tall, massive, bulky, powerful. He kicked the man so hard that his body fell as he smashed through the walls. Snatty looked around. This was bad. It shows on her face. They had to make a strategic move right here. Damn it. Where was he? She thought to herself. Someone ran, arriving behind her and handed her. She grabbed onto the two swords. Naruto, she said. She tossed the blades in the air. In an instant, the crawler fell off the ceiling, decapitated, as he collapsed down to the ground. The Butcher King blinked. Who are you? He said as he turned to face Naruto. Naruto was holding both of his blades in his hand. The Butcher King looked towards him. Ah, you're him, aren't you? One of us. But at the same time, you're not. Everyone was curious as they heard that. You know of me, said Naruto. Of course I do. I heard the whispers. I heard the mumblings amongst even your own people as well. They believe it to be false. But a few seem to believe that you are real. However, I did exterminate them. You what? I exterminated them. There is no hope left in this world. Why should I allow them to believe in a false sense of hope? He said, looking at Naruto. I heard about you in my circle as well. It is said that you were bitten by one of us, but somehow you survive and retain the weakness that is humanity. Why has that not been solved? Tell me, what exactly are you? He questioned. Well, I'm not sure, but I do know one thing. You're not gonna harm a single other person here, Naruto said. Is that so? The Butcher King said, sounding rather humorful as he said that. He stepped and skipped across the area as he was now standing in front of Naruto. I am a leader. You are an insect. A half-breed that believes he can stand up to me. He took the blade and brought it down. The blade was infected by his own bodily insides, making it so much more boom. The ground underneath Naruto exploded. Everyone was shocked as Naruto used both of his blades to block the attack, but the ground underneath him, the force, sent the ground exploding outwards. The Butcher King tried his best to force his arm down, but Naruto pushed the blade upwards. Naruto jumped and kicked him in the face, sending him into the wall as he crashed into it. Everyone was stunned, startled by what they saw. The Butcher got back to his feet. "You're stronger than the others. I'm impressed. It's been a long time since I had a real challenge," he said, stepping once again towards Naruto. It wasn't that he was fast, but the amount of force that he pushed off with even pushed his giant body easily. Naruto jumped and flipped. He threw one of his blades, it stabbed into the Butcher's shoulder. Naruto leaped and landed on it, jumping over the hand as he kicked the blade through. Tearing through the Butcher's shoulder, Naruto landed and caught it and sliced him across the back. Naruto flipped over the kick and slammed a heel down his face. Having him staggered back, the Butcher swung as Naruto ducked. His blade carved through the building like nothing. Over to the side, as Tsunade observed Naruto dodging the attacks, a tiny smile appeared on her face. The Butcher roared, causing the others to cover their ears. Suddenly, black tentacles escaped from his back and stabbed into all the ones that he killed on the ground. Immediately, their bodies started to mutate. They were attached to him as they got up and launched themselves towards Naruto. Naruto ducked under the first and slashed it open. He weaved under the second and punched its head off. Naruto was disabling all of them, but the Butcher was happy to see that. Sakura's eyes widened. She dashed forward, pulling out her own weapon as she threw it, trying to stab the Butcher as those strange black tentacles were underground, and they were trying to attack Naruto from behind while he was busy with the others. However, he caught it and crushed it in his hand. He noticed her as he reached, once again stepping off with such force. Her eyes widened, but Renji appeared and slammed his blade in the Butcher's hand. However, the Butcher started to squeeze Zabuza's blade, his fingers, causing it to slowly crack. Hinata jumped over, bouncing on Renji's shoulder as he stabbed the Butcher in the shoulder. However, he roared out and slapped all of them away. They were all sent crashing. "You puny, worthless humans," he said. That is when he heard it. He turned as Naruto burst through him. Naruto was spinning with his blades outstretched. Landing in front of Sakura and the others, the Butcher had a massive hole through him. However, the hole started to stitch itself back together as he started to laugh. A disturbing laugh. "Pathetic. You can't kill me," he said. "I'm a leader. Do you know how I gained my name? It is because of your people that I butchered," he said. "You are not one of us. You are simply a mistake, and I will butcher you just like the others," he said, raising his massive blade. Naruto dropped both of his blades down to the ground. Sakura shouted out his name to move, but Naruto closed his eyes. He can't defeat the Butcher like this. Naruto's strength alone, naturally, was incredible. He could crush first tiers easily. He could crush second tiers easily. He could even keep up with the leaders in his normal state, but defeating them was something that he can't do in his normal state. The Butcher swung his massive cleaver down. However, even the Butcher was shocked. Naruto caught it with his bare hand. When Naruto opened his eyes, they were completely red. Naruto vanished. The Butcher was stunned as Naruto appeared behind him. Naruto sunk his teeth down into his shoulder. Immediately, The butcher stunned, unable to move. It was Naruto's fangs, dripping with a venom that can paralyze limbs. For 10 seconds, Naruto landed down. What now? You can't move. Tell me, are you afraid? Naruto said. Even his voice was different. It was darker. His whole demeanor was, as Naruto tapped into the very essence that made him a monster. His red glowing eyes, his nails elongated, stabbing into his own palm as he squeezed his fists. Naruto hit the butcher so hard his body burst through the roof. Considering that they were deep underground, the butcher found himself back on the surface. As Naruto appeared above him, the butcher was shocked. Naruto blitzed around him, delivering brutal combos, tearing his body apart. However, the butcher was still healing despite the fact that he couldn't move. The final kick, though, sent him sailing away. The butcher got up. His blade was not here anymore. He howled in rage as Naruto sliced his right arm clean off with his own blade. The butcher had a connection with his blade though as he extended his hand. Spikes ripped into Naruto's hand, but Naruto barely budged. He swung and teared through the butcher's leg. Naruto then teared through his side and jumped over him and lodged the blade into his neck, trying to behead him, but the butcher's skin there was thick. Every single time Naruto took one of them down, he stabbed them in the head. Destroying their brain was the best way to kill them. Beheading the crawler, Naruto did stab it once the head fell down to the ground, to ensure that it would not get up ever again. The butcher arm regrew as he grabbed Naruto and slammed him into the ground. He then raised his leg. The ground shattered as Naruto fell underground into another part of the base. The butcher jumped down and grabbed a massive piece of equipment that he found and dropped it on Naruto. However, Naruto's fist burst through it and slammed into his nose, sending him towards the wall. Naruto slammed into the butcher. The butcher raised both of his arms, but Naruto's back started to twist and turn as two extra arms erupted from it. The arms were rotted, like they were the arms of the infected. They grabbed the butcher arm and started to push to the left and to the right, while Naruto used both of his hands to lift the butcher off the ground, despite his incredible size. The butcher howled out as Naruto tore his arms off once again. Naruto then threw him outside. Naruto bent his knees and jumped. Lifting all of his arms, Naruto brought them down. Boom! The butcher smashed into the ground with critical force. He got back up as he looked towards Naruto. This is impossible. I am a leader. I can't be bested by a mere half-breed, he shouted. The others finally arrived outside. The butcher started to go critical. He started to go feral. Each of the leaders had a rather powerful state. His body started to bulge and mutate. Naruto, eyes narrowed as he grew and grew and grew. He was gigantic as he towered over Naruto with 4 massive arms. A simple howl from him shook the entire place. The leaders were the most infected with the twisting of the virus along with Chakra as well. Many people truly believe that the leaders were not from this world, but Naruto knew different. They were. They simply forgot who they were. They became something else. You see, Chakra was used for many things. Chakra could do almost anything. The leader infection, along with the Chakra, turned them into what they are. It is rare for a leader to be born, and the ones that were born the day when the virus truly struck, those were the only ones. There has been no new leaders. The numbers were few. However, the second tier, with the tongue, the crawlers, the muscles, And the first tier were the hordes of worthless zombies. Well, they were born constantly if new were infected. The second tier was harder, but the first was, yes, common. The leaders, on the other hand, their mutation was early with Chakra, making them into what they are. The reason why they still possess a lot more sense than your average first and second tier. However, this state, the transformed state, was not one that Naruto has ever seen before. He has gone up against a leader and won, but the butcher was much stronger, and this state was incredibly powerful. His fist hit the ground as Naruto was sent sailing away. He crashed on the ground. As Naruto looked up towards the monstrosity, "I'll squash all of you," he said, his guttural voice turning even more disturbing. Everyone behind Naruto was frightened. This is it. Most of them started saying their mind. None of them has ever seen a leader. This power was this really what they were up against? This is hopeless. Snady stood there with an unreadable expression as she looked towards Naruto. This is truly hopeless. They all thought in that moment. Sakura, gaze over. Sakura, Kiba said, trying to speak to her knowing that it was going to be it for them. This was simply too powerful. But her gaze was on Naruto. "You can do it." His hearing picked up her words. Naruto heard a scream as he saw a few members trying to escape from the section that he and the leader had burst. The leader saw them and brought his foot down. Naruto blitzed forward. The leader looked down surprised. His foot was large, but it still could not squash them, as Naruto was holding it back. The leader was toppled over as Naruto pushed him, using a great amount of his strength. The leader hit the ground with a boom. As he started to get back to his feet, the girl looked up towards Naruto. You saved me. Go." "Now," he said. She ran away. Naruto proceeded to sit down. There was a reason why he hated truly going this far. Because he was reminded that he was no better than them. But if he did not do this, everyone here will die. Naruto spent a lot of time with Jiraiya. He learned a lot about the man. Jiraiya and him became true godfather and godson. He hated the man at first, but Jiraiya decided to understand Naruto rather than trying to force him back to the village. He wanted to understand him first. Jiraiya taught Naruto a lot. He told him about his sage mode. Unfortunately, Naruto never got the chance to learn it. However, he tried. After the fall of mankind, he tried. And he learned that he could do something else. He called it corpse sage mode. A twisted version of sage mode. Naruto could draw natural energy. Well, it wasn't so natural anymore. This twisted, sick, dead energy from the dead. The few that lost their life to the butcher, their essence gave off a rather giving sensation to him. In the past, he questioned what it was, but he hated entering in this form because it made him more monster-like. He hated being reminded that he was just like them. He was a monster. When Naruto opened his eyes, his entire body started to change. A blackish aura formed around him. His bones were strengthened. His body started to twist. His teeth were beyond human anymore. His eyes looking like they were hollow like death. That red color looking bleak and corrupted. You could see the twisting black markings like a virus being pulled out of the earth and being pulled into him. But it wasn't the earth, it was the corpses. Naruto looked up towards the leader. The leader felt this strange force. What is that? In an instant, Naruto was in front of him. Naruto was in mid-air, his hand glistening with a strange ability. A twisted version of the one that he used to use. As he could no longer use any of his techniques, he had to create new techniques. Virus Storm, Rasengan, a black, stormy energy compress of energy due to the twisted energy that he absorbed, allowing him to do things like this. It compressed inwards and then exploded outwards. It truly spread across the air like a virus. It wasn't something that humans should breathe in. It made them sick. However, it did split the butcher, literally blasting him through at the waist. He fell, his lower half collapsing down as Naruto landed right at his hip. The butcher tried to grab Naruto with either of his arms, but Naruto blitzed around them. He brought all four of them down, but Naruto held both of his hands out. The butchers tried to squash him as he squeezed his hand. Everyone gasped as he crushed his hand together. However, Naruto ripped through them, literally tearing a hole through it, jumping through as he ran straight up his arm. The butcher released tentacles from his mouth trying to grab Naruto. However, Naruto released Echo of the End, a violent, monstrous shockwave roar that completely eradicated the tentacles. No! No! The butcher roared out as Naruto jumped into the sky. The dark energy surrounded his fists. Naruto kicked off the air and flew through the butcher's skull, bursting into his brain. His head exploded outwards as the energy erupted, covering Naruto from head to toe. Over to the side, as the people stood there shocked, Tsunade Senju was smiling. Yes, a rather happy smile on her face. But guys, be subscribed right here. If you want to see the next part you already know what to do, just comment down below and tell me and I'll be posting it as soon as possible. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.